to another episode of Movie Talk and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I am Gavin Butts.
And I'm Patrick Wall.
And in this episode, we're doing having a special little interview with a local film commissioner of the St. Pete Clearwater area, Miss Tony Armour. He's going to be joining us here in a second. So we're going to be doing an interview with him, talking about his works, his career, and a little bit about some upcoming things for not only him, but also Movie Talks and Chill. So we're going to be getting this meeting going here in just a moment. Gavin, how's your day been in between?
It's pretty much same usual stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about movies and
Didn't watch any movies at work?
Unfortunately not. I can't right now.
Good answer. People can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like our bosses.
Yeah, if my
Yes.
boss tunes into this, I did not watch a single movie today.
I was not doing that. Silly man.
I was not watching The Emperor's New Groove for the 1,000,000th time.
And this actually making history for Movie Talk and Chill. The first time we're doing an actual Zoom meeting recording here. So let's
Yes,
see how this goes.
this should be fun.
He's like,
I mean, I can think of a lot of words, but I don't know about fun.
so yeah, we'll be we're getting Mr. Armour on in here in just a second. Just got to connect with him
Yeah, he should be joining any moment.
any moment now.
As they say, momentarily.
Yes, momentary. In a minute.
Un momento.
I love seeing my name just on a screen. I feel like I'm on the big screen.
If the big screen was 17 inches.
Yes, right. Bring it on down. There we go. Well, make sure you can get in there too, Patrick.
Oh,
Ew.
Yeah, that's really close. Oh, look at that. Here, let me just slide over.
Ain't we
Let's
so
take it.
purdy? PURDDY.
All right.
all right, there he is, joining now. We're just waiting for his audio to connect.
Yes. Oh, fun Zoom. Zoom. Hey, there he is. Hey, Tony,
Guys.
how you doing?
Good, how's it going?
Good, man. We kicked off the interview episode here, so we just want to introduce everybody to you. So if you want to just introduce yourself, give us a little background as to who Tony Armour is.
No, nobody interesting. So I'm Tony Armour, and I'm the film commissioner for St. Pete Clearwater, which is all of Pinellas County and all 24 cities in Pinellas County here in the Tampa Bay area. Been film commissioner for about 8 years now, and prior to that, I've been a award-winning filmmaker and producer and a little bit of everything over the years. Taught film as a adjunct professor, University of Tampa Art Institute of Tampa. I founded the Sunscreen Film Festival in 2005, and so that is now going into its 17th year here in St. Pete, and have done a little bit of everything from PA to you name it on a set over the last 20 years or so.
Oh, that's a long list there, sir. You definitely,
And I was keeping it
got
short. I was keeping it short for you. I don't want to ramble on too much.
No, that's what it's here for. Everybody hears us talk all the time. So, we want to hear what you have to say on things. So that was first. I just wanted to, introduce everybody to, what you do, kind of a little bit about your career. Wanted to ask you a little bit. You mentioned the Sunscreen Film Festival. You said it's been about, 17 years now?
Yeah, 17 years this year. So April 28th to May 1st, 2022 here will be year 17. It's hard to believe it's been that long.
Oh, I know, right? Well, going back a little bit real quick, and then I'll give the guys a chance to ask some questions as we go through here. What year did you start? What was your first job in film?
My first job in film. So back in the late 90s, 97, 98-ish, I decided to dabble in acting, sort of as an actor. And so I did a few different projects. I was an extra in a TV pilot called Automatic Avenue that shot in downtown St. Pete back in like 1997. And it starred Billy Campbell, who was in The Rocketeer, that many people remember from 91 or 92, whenever that film came out. And so that was one of the very first things. I was also an extra as a beach football player, just throwing a football in the background for a Hulk Hogan movie. McKinsey's Island, and that was back in, like 97, 98 or something like that too. And that all shot in this area. A few, kind of little things like that. Oh, and then one of the biggest set that I had worked on up to that point, then 2003, I think it was, I was Thomas Jane's photo double for a bunch of days on The Punisher when that shot here. So there are some scenes in The Punisher where you see like the Punisher's hands with a grinder working on the car as he's redoing the car, and those are actually my hands instead of Thomas Jane's working
That's
on
awesome. That was
Nice.
actually going to be one of my
working on the
questions.
car.
Have you worked
My
on one of
only
those
claim to
movies?
fame in a Marvel movie is being the Punisher's hands.
Hey, that's further than most people got,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, to be fair, that is the best Punisher movie. So good on you.
It is. It really is. I like that one quite a bit.
Absolutely. Do you have anything right now, or do you want?
I was actually going to ask about the two major films that were filmed in Tampa Bay, and if you had worked on any of those movies, one of them being The Punisher, because I remember when I was in college, they were trying to get extras in downtown Tampa for that big scene where he throws the money out the window and trying to get everybody to grab it. But another movie that comes to mind is Spring Breakers, that was filmed in St. Pete in 2012. Were you involved in that project at all?
Yeah, no, I didn't work on Spring Breakers at all. So that was 2012, like you said, and I didn't. I was kind of on the outskirts. Didn't have anything to do with that one at that time. And then, of course, we had Dolphin Tale in 2010 is when that shot, and then the second one shot in 2013 or 14. And so wasn't really involved with those. When I actually came on board as film commissioner, took part in the premiere out in LA for Dolphin Tale 2 when that happened, because that came out just in my first year as film commissioner then.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
And then we did have the Bryan Cranston film, The Infiltrator, also shot in like 2014. And then Tim Burton's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children that shot in 2015. So that was fun because I actually got to interact and hang out a little bit with Tim Burton on that one. So that was a cool experience.
That's cool. I didn't know that movie was shot here.
Yeah, it takes place primarily in Wales in the UK, and that's where most of it's shot, but there's a whole Florida section, and that Florida stuff was all shot in the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I saw not that long ago on some site you were working, or you were on set of one of the films being done. I think it was near Caddies or something recently. Was that more recently? Or it was like a news thing going on with you. You were
Oh, right. Yeah. Down at the Hurricane
yeah.
Beach area. Yeah. So it was a Lifetime Channel film called Spring Break Nightmare that was shooting down there. And so we've had a whole bunch of those small Lifetime Channel, Hallmark Channel type films shooting over the past 6 months or so. That's kind of everything that we've had, because that's without a state film incentive for Florida, that's what we're going to get are these small projects. But better to have small projects than no projects.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it helps more and more just keep this area, on the mark, keep it on the radar for everything. And a quick question I have about this is, in your experiences since your long career with this and being in this area, what would you see you've seen the growth in the area in the film market? Like, not only just whether it's movies produced here or people based out of this area, like, have you seen a large growth? Like, what does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah, it's been interesting. When I'll go back to like 2005 when first started the Sunscreen Film Festival. The whole reason we started that festival is because I had shot my first feature film in 2004, and it was terrible, and something you don't want anyone to ever see. But it then becomes one of those things where it's like, well, how do I meet people in the industry around here? Like, who's around here? How do you meet people? How do you meet people in LA? And how do you, do something in this business without having to move to Los Angeles? And so I've seen it grow dramatically over the years, from people not knowing where to meet anyone to, then having Sunscreen around for 17 years. It gives people a venue to meet filmmakers from around the country. And as we have more productions coming in, I'm constantly interacting with them, and people are constantly calling my office saying, hey, I want to work, in film somehow. How do I get started? What do I do? And so right now I'm able to say, well, we've got all these small little films that need PAs and interns and stuff. If you want to learn how it works, it's a good place to get started. These are great training ground films. They're not, big multi-million-dollar films with union crews and that kind of stuff, because they can't afford it. So it's they're great projects to work on to sort of, get trained on how the industry works.
Okay. I guess another question I had about this. So, being the film commissioner, being part of the film commission, what what services like do you guys provide to help out the local filmmakers? Someone coming in and say, hey, I want to make a movie, or hey, I want to be a part of a movie. I know there's stuff with you guys being able to find grants and stuff through the state. Can you walk us through a little bit of what that looks like?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do, so we've got a location database on our website where a big part of it is, hey, I'm coming in from out of town and I've got this project that I want to do. Where can I shoot this? I don't know where I can shoot. What locations can I use? And so we help them with locations, with crew. Again, someone coming in from out of town, or even if you're local and you need crew, we have a production guide on the website where you can find crew. I need a first AD and I need a script, supervisor, and any crew position you're looking for. And we're getting a lot of calls and emails and texts and everything else, looking for crew, just resources in general. Hey, I'm trying to find a four-wheeler so that we can shoot this particular scene. Where do I find a four-wheeler? I don't know who to rent this from. So anything you can think of logistically to help a production, we kind of are there to help with that. From a financial perspective, like I was saying, the state of Florida doesn't have a film incentive, but we have a local incentive through my office. And so I've just got a line item in my budget that is film incentive. And, we primarily do feature films, can't really incentivize commercial projects because money be gone in a day because there's so much commercial work that, that comes to the area, and they don't need it, frankly. Commercials don't need an incentive to film. They do whatever you want. They're a different financing structure than independent features. And so there's a whole, application you can fill out, and it's basically whatever you spend, you're going to get 10 to 20% of that back, sort of as a rebate for whatever you spent. So if you spend $400,000 shooting a film, you can get anywhere from, 40, 80, $100,000 back on your film. And that varies depending on, since we're part of the tourism office, and you're shooting a film, and be like, okay, well, we want you to change your script and change the name of, the city that you're shooting in from whatever generic Florida city or city somewhere else to Clearwater or St. Pete or Dunedin or Safety Harbor. Like, actually call it the name of the city. We want to see some great drone shots in there that shows how pretty it is around here. So put in all these tourism elements, and by putting those elements in your film, then you can get more than that standard 10% of whatever just your spend is, basically.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Mr. Gavin, do you have any questions?
Well, that's kind of that was kind of leading into one of my questions of, Tampa is definitely, a huge growing city now. We're getting everything from, we've got 3 sports teams here. We've got just growing community of, even in investments, commercial opportunities, people uprooting their headquarters and moving to Florida, and particularly in the Tampa area. Are you getting any kind of incentive to, promote that for the film industry as well? Try to attract any studios particularly, or is it just individual projects?
No. So when it comes to studio stuff and studio projects or anything, like a Warner Brothers, HBO, Netflix, that kind of stuff, frankly, it will never happen without a state film incentive. The dollars are too small. There's no incentive that we could possibly give them that, hey, I'm going to bring a $50 million project in here. How much can you give me? Well, my max is $250,000. So 250 grand on a 50 million or 15 or 10 or even 5 million doesn't make any difference. So go to a state where if you spend 5 million, you're going to get, 20% of that back, to get $1 million back. That goes a long way. If you're spending 50 million and you're going to get $10 million back or more, there's no way we can match that. And so that's why you see, Georgia being as busy as it is, and Ohio and Louisiana and all these other states with incentives. So it's literally impossible to get any sort of studio large project without a state incentive. Now, I say literally impossible with a caveat being that occasionally that you will get something like shooting in Miami and the Florida Keys right now is a TV series called Bad Monkey, and that stars Vince Vaughn, and it's an Apple TV or an Apple Plus project. I get confused whether it's Apple TV, Apple Plus, whatever they're calling their TV thing. And the reason that they're shooting it there is because you can't really fake the Florida Keys for anywhere else. And the guy who has created that particular show just has that kind of power where he can say, I want this to happen here. But it doesn't happen very often. And then usually after they do one season, they end up going somewhere else because because what happens is here's kind of a little trick that they'll do is like they'll come shoot one season in Florida, and then the state of California has this new incentive program with close to $400 million or something like that, where if you bring a TV series to California that's originally shot in another state, they give you a bunch more money. So it's basically a way of getting California to give you more money if you shoot somewhere else first. And so Florida has sort of become this little, hey, we'll shoot it in Florida and then we'll go get more money out of California because we're going to relocate there. They did that with Ballers, the Ballers TV series that was shooting in Miami with
I remember that one.
Dwayne Johnson. Moved there last season to LA, and the show that last season was horrible. I don't know if anybody watched it. It was a complete turd, and I blame it on shooting in LA because LA is nowhere near as cool as Florida.
No, it's not.
Absolutely not.
I just wish, just based on what you said, I'm going to be a little funny about this. I wish that's how it would work with the housing market right now. Just get everybody back out. They're all moving here now.
Yes.
I know, and driving our real estate prices through the roof.
I know, man. It's insane.
So we got to call DeSantis about the film budget. Got it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So did you have a question?
No.
Okay, because I wanted to jump in on a couple things. So in our fashion, we'll get back to also get some more info from you, but I don't just want to drill and be like, hey, question. For our show, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it before, but we kind of have a lot of topics to talk about, all sorts of different movies, basically. That's it, like actors, directors, genres, whatever you can think of. We talk about it.
We're not complex here.
No, we're very simple.
All right.
From a guy in movies, from a film commissioner, what is your favorite genre? I want to get a little personal on that end. Like, what do you enjoy?
I mean, I like a little bit of everything, but I mean, look, I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, and so if it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, my favorite film of all time. I saw that the new Top Gun is going to be opening the Cannes Film Festival in May, and so I'll be there in May for Cannes Film Festival. And so I watched Top Gun last night just for the hell of it, because it's never a bad time to watch Top Gun, right?
No.
So yeah, I mean, I love all those 80s blockbuster pop fun movies like that, and the modern ones, all the the Marvel and Star Wars and everything. But at the same time, I love a film like Run Lola Run, which is this independent German film from 1997. I don't know if you ever saw it or not. Anybody familiar with that one?
I haven't. I've heard of it, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, you should check it out. You should check it out. It's really cool. Franca Potenta is the German actress who's in that one, who she went on and starred in The Bourne Identity with Matt Damon when that film first came out. She was the female lead in that particular film, but Run Lola Run's kind of the film that made her career take off from there. And it's a cool film. It's one of those sort of day repeats over and over again films. Mm-hmm. So that's a genre that I love. Any kind of Groundhog Day type storyline, I think, are a lot of fun, and I like seeing that mixed up in different genres. Whether it's like a random independent film like Run Lola Run or whatever it might be. So there's a bunch of there's a bunch of genres that I like. I don't have one particular favorite. So I'm kind of all over the board.
Yeah, it's kind of how we are, but we do have certain areas. Like I'm a suspense thriller, one of those mess with your mind type movies, makes you think. Like, I don't know, have you seen Memento?
Yeah, of course. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so stuff like that, like anything that really makes you sit down and think, or Identity, so on and so forth.
A crazy person.
Yeah. Patrick here does not like horror, so that's his genre he does not like.
I'll literally watch anything else.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not a horror guy. Now, there are the occasional horror themed things I like. So Supernatural TV series, that's technically like a horror show, but it's not really horror. It's not like Saw or something like that. But like Evil Dead 2, hey, that's a fun horror movie. So maybe like horror comedy I'll deal with, but anything that's like straight horror and gore, I'm like, pass.
Yep.
Yeah. The only exception I had is Cabin in the Woods. I genuinely enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
So kind of speaking along that line, like kind of goofy, funny horror. Have you seen? Cause I personally don't know myself, and I haven't done a whole lot of research on it either. But like the Trauma Team, like Lloyd Kaufman, have they done stuff here? Do you know?
They have not done stuff here, but I actually met that whole team in Cannes a few years ago, and they're a wild bunch, that's for sure. Yeah, but they've got that niche that they do, and they haven't done anything locally. I talked with them about it, about trying to get them here to do something, but the stuff they shoot is so low budget. I mean,
Oh yeah.
super, super low budget, but they've got an audience for it. So
Got at least one viewer.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I like those
There you
stupid,
go.
crazy ones, man. But you're absolutely right. They're super duper low budget. I think he even wrote multiple books on like how to make a movie out of nothing or with nothing or something like
Yeah.
that. But I
It's,
also
it's
know-
hard because part of it is with something like that is you just can't pay people. Basically everybody works for free, and you do it because you want to get together a group of friends and just crazy people and make a movie. But then when you get to a point, if you're trying to bring crew in and actually hire people,
Mhm.
it's hard because, especially in this market, because this is such a strong commercial market, people can make whatever their full commercial rate is as a sound person or a location manager or cinematographer. They're making anywhere $400 to $600 a day.
Mm.
And here comes an independent film and says, we'll pay you $200 or $250 a day. And they're like, nah, I'd rather not work on your little project and, work less on commercial projects and make more money. So that's the tough part about, shooting indies in this area, which is why I always say that these small ones are great training films for people who just want to get started and learn how the industry works.
Okay. Do you think that we're talking about budgets and everything? What do you think the biggest portion of the cost goes? So if I'm an independent filmmaker, I'm going in to make a movie. Is it more on, like you said, like the crew? Because we know like a lot of people want to just get their name out there or just be on camera. So a lot of times it's probably easier to find actors to work for free as opposed to the crew. But I mean, I know there's like permitting involved. Like, what do you think some of the largest costs come into play when it's?
Well, it all depends. I think, well, it will depend on a couple of things. One, when we say independent film, are you making an independent film that you want just to play film festivals and kind of get out there and do something? And it's one of your first films. It's a business card because you're just getting started in the industry. And you're not going to have any name actors in it. Then, food. That's always, make sure you spend your money on food and feed your crew really
happy,
well.
right?
But there's a lot of, again, it's so hard to say because we have to talk on scale. What's the scale? Are we talking about a $500,000 film or are you talking about a $20,000 film?
Yeah. Oh, did we get a freezer?
Yeah. Tony, can you hear us?
Or are you talking about a 1 million?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, we had a little freeze there, glitch there for a second.
No problem. Yeah, I don't know why. It looks like it's freezing slightly here. So if something goes wrong, let me know.
Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, so it really depends, where the budget goes, really depends on the scale of the film that you're making. So if you could drill down and get a little more specific, I might be able to give you a little better answer.
Okay. I guess I was thinking more like, let's say if you're just looking to just get into a film festival first time, just get your name kind of out there. Like, obviously everybody wants to get it distributed at some point, but if your goal is say, I want to make a movie, I want people to see it and I want to just get it into a film festival. It doesn't matter to me. I've got $100,000, $150,000, like,
Sure.
Then kind of in that direction, I guess would be.
Yeah. Well, it breaks down a lot. One thing people always forget is they forget about post-production. No matter, it's funny, independent filmmakers, especially independent filmmakers coming out, they're always like, I'm shooting it on the fill in the blank camera. And they forget about sound and actually being able to finish the movie and do post-production of the movie. So they spend all their money shooting the film, and then they just think that they're just going to go home and edit it on their souped up computer at home, which in today's world, you can edit your feature film, at home like that. But you don't realize how important sound is and what you need to have done sound wise to be able to get it distributed or to even to get into film festivals. Like if you were going to even get a small distribution deal just to get it out, it has to go through QC, quality control. So they literally send it to a lab where they test the audio levels and everything. And if it comes back where the audio fails, you don't get distribution. And strictly based on the fact that you don't have your audio straight. So you need to save money for post-production for a good sound mix and legal. People always forget about legal. You've got to have your contracts in order as well, even for any kind of distribution. So, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, but save money for legal and save money for, good sound mix and good, post-production. Again, even if you're just shooting it, if you're shooting $100,000 movie at home, you better save at least $30,000 for your post-production and try and shoot the thing for, $60,000, whatever you're putting into pre-production. So it really depends, but that's a big thing that filmmakers don't think about.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember when I was working on some projects and stuff, they were definitely, I kind of made that mistake too. You're kind of in the moment of like, hey, let's just get it done. And what we don't think about is get it done is we're not thinking the big picture done. Like you're saying, like with post-production, we're thinking, let's just get all the scene shot and we'll worry about the rest later,
And then you find out you need more money to finish it. Now, how do you go find money?
Yep.
I did have a quick question. Early in the life of our podcast, we talked with a local actress, Krista Saxon, and she also brought up the difficulties of post-production, specifically with distribution. In your role as the film commissioner, do you work with distributors to help the independent films get out there?
Sort of, not really in my role as film commissioner. It's not what film commissioners do, but I have experience in that realm. And so to a certain extent, I can help give advice or guide filmmakers that have a completed film, like I got this film and I've finished it and it's done. It's a small independent film and doesn't have any name actors in it. What can I do to get it distributed? So there's a handful of things you can do, from self-distribution, on platforms like Vimeo and even Amazon Prime. You can get, self-distribution on Amazon Prime. You can use an aggregator and pay $5,000 and be able to get it on Google Play and Amazon and iTunes and all that kind of stuff. And so at least it's out there in the world.
Okay.
And then, depending on what it is, there are, like I said, I could say, well, you should, go to IMDb Pro, look up, these sales agents and distribution companies and see if somebody can help you out if they're interested in it. But the number one question any sales agent distributor is going to have is, well, who's in it? First question, who's in the film? Then they know if they can sell it or not. If there's nobody in it, Tony Armour's in that film. We're like, we can't sell that thing,
Okay. So a question I had, since we talked a little bit about it, I want to make sure we hit on this to kind of also plug it for you guys as well, is with the film festival coming up, it's coming up, April 28th through May 1st. Am I correct?
You got it. Yep, exactly.
Okay. And again, like I said, we're looking forward to coming out there and seeing it and being out there. Is there any information you can give to people yet, or is there about like what's going to be going on there this year, or is there?
Yeah, the full schedule is on the website. So sunscreenfilmfestival.com, full schedule there. And I think we have close to 180 films over the course of the 4 days. 2 films for opening night. Our opening night film, 7:00 on Thursday the 28th, is a film called Rose All Day, which is a fun independent comedy from producers, directors out in California, and a lot of TV actors in that film, like faces you recognize but not like big household names. So that's a fun one. And then just really over the course of the entire weekend, documentaries and short films and action and comedy and horror. And so all the genres that you can think of, spread out over the course of the festival in short and feature format. And then workshops. We've got, I think, 12 workshops over the course of the festival on acting and screenwriting and producing and distribution and finance and all that great stuff. And, it's really the best place in the entire Tampa Bay area every single year to meet other filmmakers. The number of projects that have been put together from people meeting at Sunscreen, like I couldn't even count at this point. Like every single year, people meet other people, they get together, they create projects. It's really just the best environment, the best place to get out and meet people. And then we've got some, even if you just want to watch movies because you enjoy films, there's some great films this year. There's a really cool documentary called Waterman. And it is about, I'm going to mess up the last name, like Duke. It's a Hawaiian name that starts with a K, not Kamehameha, but like, so anyways, I'll have to look it up. I don't want to butcher it. But this guy is literally what you call the godfather of surfing. So like early 1900s, he is this, this Hawaiian guy, and is surfing and everything, and essentially ends up going to a couple of Olympics as a swimmer. Encounters a lot of racism as at that time in the world. He's this brown guy competing in the Olympics against what was just a lot of white people at that time, but travels to Australia and New Zealand, where, you know, those are considered big surfing meccas right now. Well, nobody knew how to surf before he got there. Like, he literally showed people how to surf. There are statues of him in Australia and New Zealand in his honor as like the person who brought surfing to New Zealand and to Australia, essentially, you know, kind of created that culture there. And then, you know, not to give the entire movie away, because it's, like I said, really phenomenal film, and it's narrated by Jason Momoa. And there's one particular story from that film that, like, you watch it, like, you can't help but like tear up and almost cry when you're watching this on film. And they did some amazing reenactments in it. And so something 1925 or something like that. He's in Hawaii, he's on the beach, and there's a massive storm raging, just a crazy storm. Waves are like 20-25 foot high waves. And there's like a fishing trawler that is a couple of miles out, that the storm is so bad, flips this thing over. Well, this guy literally grabs his surfboard and swims out to this trawler in 25-foot waves in a raging storm and saves 8 people's lives.
Jesus.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Back and forth, like out, grabs a couple people, brings them back. Out, grabs a couple people, brings them back, and saved these guys' lives. And in a storm that flipped a boat over, one man as a swimmer is able to, he's such a strong swimmer, he was able to go out there and do that. And it was the first time anyone had ever used a surfboard for, you know, like rescue, any sort of rescue thing, for lifeguard rescue type thing. And so after that, that is when people around the world started using surfboards as a lifeguard rescue device because of him.
I did not know that. That's
I didn't either until I saw it. So I highly recommend watching that film if you get a chance at Sunscreen. Check the schedule. It's a really, really great movie. It's a really, really cool documentary. I loved it.
What was the name of it again?
It's called Waterman.
Waterman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked it up, and that does seem like a very interesting movie, especially since Jason Momoa is narrating it. I've been a big fan of his since Stargate Atlantis. Huge sci-fi nerd. But the schedule, there's a movie called Sherwood after that, and tagline is just what happens to the merry men when Robin Hood goes away. And I kind of want to see that one too.
Yeah, that's like a fun mockumentary. So it's shot mockumentary style, very, you know, Christopher Guest Best in Show type of thing. And I think in that, you know, Robin Hood like breaks his foot or something like that, and so he can't do his Robin Hood stuff. And so it's a fun comedy, you know, mockumentary kind of thing. So there's another fun mockumentary like that called Reopening that plays on Saturday the 30th as well. And it's about a little like theater that reopens during the pandemic. And it's just silly because it makes fun of the whole thing, where it has people like in plastic bubbles trying to act on stage. It's a fun little mockumentary. That one's good as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to it, because I know you and I have been talking in exchange, but, you know, Gavin and Patrick here, been letting them know about our communications and stuff. And, you know, we're super excited to be able to come out there. You know, thank you again for letting us come out there and do that. And, but we're just looking to see a little bit of everything out there while we're there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on there.
Awesome. I know we got, how much time do we have?
That's
here?
what I'm trying to figure out now.
I think we have a little bit of time, so
Yeah.
just want to make sure before, excuse me, before we do run out of time, again, as your experience and from both perspectives on things, what kind of advice would you give anybody who just wants to get in film but doesn't really know how to get in film? And I know you mentioned earlier, like, kind of do, you know, step into kind of the smaller things, do kind of like an intern role. Is there any other advice you can give to any future potential filmmakers, and kind of how to get started?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you just have to go do stuff. Like, if it's, you know, when you first get started, just go work for free and volunteer on people's projects, volunteer on student projects, volunteer on little short films, you know, whatever it might be, with zero experience. And if you're just getting started, or even just a little bit of experience, nobody's going to pay you to do anything. So you've just got to go volunteer, work on some projects. You work with those people if they like you, if they like the way you work and your work ethic and everything, they inevitably will ask you to come work on other projects. and then you just kind of grow from there and make your own stuff. You know, if you want to be a filmmaker, you want to work on other people's projects to see what it's like. You want to make your own stuff, especially nowadays. You can shoot it on your cell phone. Those are no excuse not to make something. So I mean, it's not super complicated. You just have to. A lot of people talk, and very few people do. So you know, stop talking, go do something.
Yep.
Right.
Sound like the grumpy old man. I'm becoming, you know, really settling into this grumpy old man role as I get older, and I'm.
Well, I remember. So one of my favorite directors. He's not like on the top tier of A-list, but Kevin Smith. I just love how he writes in the stories of them. These guys get tired of hearing me talk about him, but I remember
Every damn day.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of his Q&As, and that was one bit of advice very similar. He's like, some guy asked him, you know, he's like, I started writing, but I'm kind of getting writer's block, or I want to do this, but he's like, just do it. He's like, just do it, just finish it. You know, finish your story, write it, go out and do it.
You have to go make garbage. Go make a crappy movie. Your first film you're not going to make is not going to be good, no matter what you think. It's not going to be any good. So just go get the crappy ones out of your system, and you know, and you'll get better as you go along. I think we actually have a panel at the festival this year that we titled "Why You Should Make a Bad Movie."
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it's really
we're
just
awesome.
boils down to, because everybody has to at some point. You've got to make. You know, Steven Spielberg didn't make E.T. for his first film or Jaws for his first film. He was making other things first, and everybody makes, you know, some kind of garbage out. And hopefully we improve.
Right. We may have between 5 and 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So if my math is right. And it might not be. So let's find out.
He's trying to be an analyst in his life.
It should give us like a 1 minute warning or something, I think, usually.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that's
hoping, but
Yeah.
we downloaded this 20 minutes ago, so we more know.
All right.
Shoestring budget over here.
Right.
All right.
Hey, we make it work. We're doing it.
That's right.
Is there any people that we may know that are going to be out in the festival? Any names that you can give out, or is that going to be on the website, or is that something?
Yeah, should be on the website. Like as you click through the on the workshops, a lot of the speakers list who is speaking. So a couple of local names that I think people know: Eugenie Bondurant, who was in the most recent Conjuring film, and she was in the Hunger Games. And has done a ton of stuff. Paul Wilson, whose brother Patrick Wilson, you know, who everybody knows from a name of Blockbuster. Seems like Patrick's in it, but Paul has been doing some great stuff lately. He's in a new Nixon TV series. I'm not sure if that's on HBO Max or Showtime or something like that. He actually plays Richard Nixon, and he was in The Conjuring as well. We've got a great actress coming down from New York named Rana Roy, and Rana has a short film at the festival. It's a really good short, but she's an actress up in New York that is on a ton of television. Like you just look at her credits, and she's on all kinds of TV shows and constantly working. She's really great. Same thing. A couple of the directors for some of the films we have, Rose All Day and Pretty Problems, Kestrom Pantera, who directed that film, longtime TV actress, done a ton of television as well. So we have some very experienced people. No, big names like John Travolta when we had him, back several years ago or whatever. None of those big names that blow you away, but a lot of very good, very talented, and doing a lot of work in the industry type of people.
Okay, that was very cool. So speaking of that, in your career and starting the festival, or even before the festival, has there been any just major fan crush of person you've gotten to meet that you always wanted to meet that's been in film? Have you had that?
No, it's weird now that, I'm generally pretty calm, when I meet the different celebrities and stuff, but we did in 2014, we did a whole event with George Takei, which was really cool. And I just remember thinking, when I'm driving around with George the one day and we're doing all these different things and I have dinner with him and we did this whole Q&A kind of thing. And I'm like, this is Sulu. I get to hang out with Sulu, And growing up, I was a huge and still love original 1960s Star Trek. To me, that's still the best Star Trek. And so to be like, this is pretty cool. And when driving around and just talking to him, and you would say something or you see something out the window, and it's not like a made up kind of thing. He would, his oh my, it's totally not made up at all. Like that's actually how he talks and what he does. He was such a nice guy and he was really great. So he was a lot of fun to hang out with, and that was kind of cool again because from being a little kid and watching Star Trek, and then you're like, wow, this is George Takei, awesome.
I know of at least one of our fans are going to be really excited to hear that story.
What else you got? You got anything else you wanted to info? Gavin, how about you?
Well, with all the projects, and if we have time to get it in, what's probably the craziest thing that has happened to you while you've been on set on any of your projects?
Well, when we were shooting Bernie the Dolphin in 2017, as you can tell by the title, it's a movie about a dolphin. And we were 5 days into shooting and lost our dolphin and didn't have a dolphin for the movie.
Oh man.
And so we had to scramble and get the dolphin for the film. And it's not like you can just, go down to Clearwater Beach and throw a line in the water or something and like grab a dolphin for your movie. It doesn't quite work that way. So, scramble, calling all the different aquariums and stuff all over the state of Florida, and managed to hook up with Marineland in St. Augustine area. And they've got a great facility there for, rehabbing dolphins. And they've got 14 dolphins over there. And the place that's now Marineland Aquarium was originally where they shot The Creature of the Black Lagoon back in like the 1950s. And wow. So anyways, after, kind of make a long story short, hopped in the car, drove to St. Augustine with the producers, met with them, negotiated being able to use Marineland, changed the name of the place in the film to Marineland, changed it to St. Augustine, just so that, hey, you guys can get the marketing value of having, Marineland and all this Bernie the Dolphin films that were released by Lionsgate and available on Hulu and everything else. And so that was, I don't know if you consider that like a crazy story, but when you're shooting a movie about a dolphin and you don't have one 5 days into shooting, it's a little stressful.
The dolphin is probably the greatest sentence of this interview.
Yeah. We lost our dolphin. Who was in charge of watching the dolphin? That's it. You're fired. Oh, that's great, man. But I mean, overall, I think. Let me ask you this. How have you seen, even in big studio, how movies change? Because we asked that with Krista when we had around there, like, because now technology is very there. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff, CGI and everything. Have you seen like there's any kind of decline on the quality of the rest of the film? Meaning, like, hey, we're not relying on a good story or acting. We've got the special effects.
Yeah, I'm gonna settle into my grumpy old man role here and just say that I think films have declined in quality over the years. And of course, cameras are great and special effects are great and they look great, but I think the stories kind of suck. They're all the same, like literally all the same. And you probably say that going back many years, but they're so generic. And even though the Marvel films are a lot of fun, everybody likes them. You watch those sometimes and you'd be like, this entire film is animated. Maybe it's photorealistic animation, but this is literally an animated film. This is not, yes, you've got actors in there, but how much of those actors actually acting and how much is it just CGI? And how much of the story can you literally predict from the very beginning? You start watching the film and 2 minutes in, you're like, I know this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And that's a function of story structure a lot of times. And we've all watched so many films over the year. You just know what the Hollywood story structure is, the 3-act structure and how they plug all the pieces in. I think writing has gotten lazy. So, many complaints about the modern industry of filmmaking, but I don't know what, that's why I think supporting independent filmmakers, independent film is so important, because you want these different, unique voices and stories to be told. And something like, when Clerks came out, in 94 with Kevin Smith made that film, it was just this weird little film, but it was different at the same time. And people obviously connected with it and connect with his style of storytelling and the types of stories that he likes to tell.
No, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of, mainly because of, I'm a big dialogue heavy movie type person. Like I've been telling guys like this for a while now, even if it's two guys, like My Dinner with Andre or something like that, you can have two people in a room or just a couple people in a room and just the conversations that they have. And that's what I like about a lot of those psychological thrillers and stuff, is that usually it's people locked in a room, some kind of mental test, and then you just see kind of what goes on in their heads. And that's what drives the movie. I mean, there's no special effects or in one room or maybe two rooms, but you have to be caught into it by the conversation and be drawn.
No, I agree. You like, things like that. I think, one of the best films that I think that's come out in the last few years was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And, Tarantino, some of his films are great, some of his films not so good, but I don't know, that film for some reason just really resonated with me. I just really loved that movie. And when it didn't win Best Picture and lost to Parasite, and Parasite was all right. I don't think it was great by any means.
No.
But for that to beat Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Best Picture, I was like, come on. I didn't bother watching the Oscars this year. I was like, this is a joke.
Well, you've already seen the news, so you didn't miss anything.
No. Oh yeah, the next morning it's great. You just see the highlights. You see, Chris Rock getting smacked, and seeing the whole show. That's all you need to know.
That's it. I heard that he just resigned from the Academy the other day or something.
Yep.
Or
Will Smith. Yeah. I mean, so what? It means he can't vote for the Academy Awards anymore.
I know, right?
A big penalty for him.
And also, I think they put like 2 or 3 of his projects on hold.
Yeah, I read that too, that a couple projects got put on hold. Yeah,
he'll ride it out. I mean, wait a year and then, he's not going away.
He's Will Smith. He's not going to be hurting for the money.
He'll just move in with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air, and everything will be okay.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Gavin, you got anything else, man? Because I know we're getting close up here to time, but I just wanted to say, Patrick, you good, or you got anything else for right now? But again, I want to make sure so we don't get cut off that we have a little, any kind of closing. So we just want to thank you again for joining us for Movie Talks and Chill in this episode. And we'll talk more soon, and definitely look forward to seeing you on the at the festival and everything. Are you going to be there all 4 days? Are you going to be there?
Oh yeah, no, all day, every day.
All day, every day.
So I'll be around. I'll be able to pop in and say a few words and be good. We can grab some of the filmmakers, some of the films that'll be there for you to talk to and interview as well. Because it's always a lot of fun, a lot of unique, interesting people to talk to.
That's fantastic. We're super excited about it. And thank you again for doing this interview. I think we had a lot of good information. I've talked to you before, but I definitely got a lot more insight as to what, more the behind the scenes for what you do and everything. So we just wanted to thank you for joining us. And I guess we'll see you at the film festival.
All right. We'll see you in a few weeks.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Hey,
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Cool.
Yeah,
that happened.
Yeah. He's a pretty laid back guy.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
You're still recording.
Oh yeah.
I was letting him know.
We're still recording.
So stop saying,
I can't take my pants off.
damn it.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, that was Mr. Tony Armour, film commissioner for the St. Pete Clearwater area, also co-founder of the Sunscreen Film Festival, which we will be attending. But that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. For Movie Talks and Chill, we're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I'm Gavin Butts.
I'm Patrick Wall.
All right, guys, take care. Don't forget, guys, you can visit us at our website, movietalksandchill.com. Email us at talktous@movietalksandchill.com, or find us on our YouTube channel.
You can also follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Movie Talks and Chill.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, coming soon to Apple Podcasts, CastBox, and Overcast.
New episodes available every Wednesday. Talk to you then. Theme music for our podcast was composed, arranged, and performed by Paul the Rock.